Another attempt to strengthen South Carolina's abortion law is being considered at the State House. South Carolina's heartbeat law went into effect back in 2023. That bans abortions once there's a heartbeat, typically around 6 weeks.
And since then, some lawmakers have made numerous attempts to shrink that timeline even more. State House reporter Stephen Biddix has the latest bill changes and the strong reaction on all sides.
The proposal replaces the state's 6-week ban with a near full abortion ban. It also removes many of the current exceptions while increasing civil and criminal penalties. South Carolina passed the heartbeat law in 2023, banning most abortions at 6 weeks when a heartbeat is typically detected. It allows exceptions up to 12 weeks for rape or incest. The new bill goes further, banning abortions once a pregnancy can be clinically diagnosed, while also eliminating the exceptions for rape and incest. The new bill provides just one exception for abortion, which would be in a medical emergency, where the mother would die or be at risk for, quote, substantial and irreversible physical impairment of a major bodily function. The Senate Medical Affairs Committee discussed the bill in a nearly 2-hour-long hearing that became heated at times. Anderson County Senator Richard Cash is a sponsor of the bill and says he's been pushing for stronger abortion laws since taking office nearly a decade ago.
The right to life is an inalienable right that comes from God, and the state needs to recognize that and codify that in law.
Carrie Schaffner argues the bill goes too far. It could send doctors to prison for up to 20 years for illegally performing an abortion.
Even with that, 6-week ban in place, that's never going to be good enough for some people. Some people today, even with this total abortion ban, were testifying they didn't think it was extreme enough because women couldn't be charged with the death penalty for getting abortions.
Governor Henry McMaster has said he believes the 6-week ban is something most South Carolinians are okay with. The Senate subcommittee is expected to take a vote on the bill Wednesday morning. Reporting at the State House, I'm Stephen Biddix.